Mako runs into trouble with some Exotella, but escapes into the archives. Tuma and Strontius pay a visit to the Sisters of the Scroll, north of Roxdas, to secure a potential ally. The two male Skrull are assaulted by the mental powers of the Sisters. Finally completing her 2,000-year-long interdimensional voyage, Mangai Toyette returns to the regular universe, appearing in the archives, where she is found by Mako. Following a sign left by Mako, Kapora travels to an entrance to the archive situated in Ga Metro, where he meets the Ga Matoran and Hafo. Mako leads the Matoran deep into the archives, to a room where the Ga Matoran has discovered Toyette with pieces of the Nui Stone embedded in her armor, while Strontius is trapped within a horrific vision of himself transforming into a Batera. Tuma bargains with the leaders of the Sisters. In exchange for future information about the great being Agonants, the Sisters release them and agree to go search for Batera. As they walk along the mountain paths, Tuma and Strontius notice trees in the positions they had not observed on their trek northward. Believing them to be Batera in disguise, the Skrull prepare to defend themselves. Tuma and Strontius are ambushed by Batera behind them, and the leader Skrull is dealt a severe blow to his weak point in the center of his back, while Strontius charges against them. Strontius is knocked out by the Batera, and as Tuma expects to be felled as well, Metis appears and dismisses the mechanical beings, who depart. Metis argues that his argue of how to defeat the Batera warrants him the position of command over the Rock Tribe in the event of Tuma's death. Tuma scoffs at his deal, but grudgingly agrees. As Strontius regains consciousness, the three travel back to Roxdas, as the Isogori entertains thoughts of eliminating both Tuma and Strontius to achieve power over the Rock Tribe. In Roxdas, Tuma announces the appointment of Metis as the surrogate leader of the Rock Tribe to the assembled Skrull's surprise. However, he secretly orders Strontius to slay Metis in the event of his demise. Gelu encounters Pharaoh while attacking a cavern, and they fight each other on their mounts. The Ice Glatorian knocks the Bone Hunter off Skirmex, and then dismounts his Sandstalker to finish the fight. Gelu ultimately defeats Pharaoh, and discovers a detailed map of Vulcanus with him. Gelu's caravan encounters a group of Zesk in the wastelands. The Igori and their spigots scare away the Zesk, but lose more than half of their load. While arriving back at the caravan, Gelu learns of the Zesk attack. Gelu and the caravan arrive in Tejon, where he meets Gresh and Metis, and agrees to accompany them to Vulcanus. Along the way, the three find an Igori transport in the desert, and they help repair it. Due to Gresh's insistence, they decide to accompany the vehicle to Vulcanus. During the voyage, Gresh and Gelu fight off a pack of Voroks. They arrive in Vulcanus, where Gelu tells Gresh of the Core War and the Shattering, events he was too young to remember. Gelu shows Ranu the map of Vulcanus, and suggests Vulcanus hire Glatorians to defend the village from the expected Bone Hunter raid. Akar arrives and is placed in charge of the Glatorian force Ranu plans to build. Akar and Gresh go to meet with Malum. Gresh travels to Zasara to recruit Vastus, and two other Glatorian from the Fire Tribe to recruit Tarax and Kina. The Igori of Vulcanus start building walls to defend against Bone Hunters. Pharaoh and four other Bone Hunters attack and kill the two Fire Tribe Glatorian before they can reach Tejon. Akar and Gelu arrive at the Vorok's camp, and Malum agrees to help them attack the Bone Hunters' camp. Gresh arrives in Tessara, but Vastus refuses to help the Fire Tribe, choosing instead to stay inside and to defend the Jungle Tribe. Tarax and Kina ride out into the desert and discover the bodies of Ranu's two messenger Glatorian. The Water Tribe Prime Glatorian rides back to Tejon, while Kina leaves for Vulcanus. Akar, Gelu, and Malum and his Voroks successfully attack the Bone Hunter camp. After the battle, Akar and Gelu ride back to Vulcanus, while Malum and his Voroks return to their camp. Kina arrives in Vulcanus and tries to convince Ranu to retreat rather than to risk the Igori's lives. Akar and Gelu arrive and tell Ranu and Kina about the battle at the Bone Hunter camp, Akar also convinces Kina to help defend Vulcanus. Gresh arrives in Vulcanus along with several Glatorian trainees and Strack. The jungle's second Glatorian tells Ranu of some bone hunter plans on an Agori learned of a scrawl prior to a Taro. The bone hunter raiding party rides through the desert on their way to Vulcanus. A young bone hunter questions the value of their mission, and Pharaoh kills him for it. Tuma discusses his manipulation of the upcoming raid with Strontius. Kina trains some Vulcanus Agori to use Thornax launchers, while Gresh, Ranu, Metis, and several other Agori build defenses above Iron Canyon. Akar surveys Iron Canyon and the Agori traps. Strack scouts around Vulcanus and overhears a bone hunter conversation about the raid. Akar, Gelu, Kina, Gresh, and Ranu discuss the raid in Vulcanus' inn. Strack arrives at the inn and tells the other Glatorian about the bone hunter's conversation in the desert. Pharaoh's group enters the canyon, and an Agori signals Vulcanus about them. One of the traps is triggered, sealing the canyon exit. Gelu triggers another trap, dropping a lattice work that kills a few bone hunters and scatters the rest. After several more attacks, Pharaoh orders his force to turn back. Gresh follows the bone hunters all the way back down the canyon. The bone hunters use their Thornax to blow away the rocks blocking the exit, and they proceed out of Iron Canyon. Gresh loses sight of the bone hunters and heads back to Vulcanus. Pharaoh's team rides past the sea of liquid sand and approaches Vulcanus from the north. Strack gets into an argument with the inn's chief cook and heavily damages the inn. Kina tries to restrain the Ice Prime Glatorian and they start to fight, causing more damage to the inn. Akar and several Agori stop the fight between Kina and Strack. Gresh arrives back in Vulcanus and tells the other Glatorian and Ranu about the bone hunter's retreat. Due to the jungle Glatorian's report, Ranu sends the Glatorian back to their respective villages, despite their insistence that the bone hunters have not given up. Ranu bargains with Metis to recruit a new Glatorian for Vulcanus. The bone hunters arrive in Vulcanus and defeat Kairai before entering the village. Akar tries to fight the bone hunters, but is nearly defeated by Pharaoh. Kina, Gresh, Gelu, and Strack return to Vulcanus, along with Tarex and Vastus. Before Pharaoh can land a fatal blow to Akar, Kina fires a Thornax and shatters Pharaoh's blade. The Glatorians successfully defeat all the bone hunters except for Pharaoh, who escapes into the desert. Gelu accepts a job to escort a caravan for a short distance to the dunes of Treason, then defends the canyon from a Skrull patrol. A Vorox breaks loose in Roxtus, but stopped by Strontius. Tardok tells Gresh and Vastus about his journey with Crotesius to the north. Vastus defeats Pharaoh and finds a Skrull shield with him. Now standing upright on Aqua Magna, Pterodax plans to depart the planet on an interstellar mission of conquest. Using his new powers as the Great Spirit, he becomes aware of the arrival of the alternate Pterodax. Mazika and the Makuta Pterodax from the Melding universe return from that dimension and arrive on the southern continent. Akar and Kina engage in a practice match in the Vulcanus arena, a match in which the Fire Glatorian is the victor. Ranu reminds Akar of his upcoming match against Strack. The alternate Pterodax uses his powers over light to deprive the sentient grasses of the southern continent of light, killing them and allowing safe passage. The Kanohi Ignika falls towards Barra Magna.